Okay, welcome back with the question and answer period. So, Brother Shabir, we have a viewer asking, or actually stating that Salahuddin had concubines, and this viewer is asking whether having concubines is permissible in Islam.
Well, we should note that in ancient times it was very common for men to have concubines. People went to war with each other, and then as a result of the battle, the winner, the victor, took the property of the other, whether it be spears and shields that were left on the battleground, or they took as slaves and servants people from the other side. In many societies there were no prisons, and people were dealt with in a variety of ways, reflecting that fact. So when you dealt with enemy combatants, you took them and you basically made them servants in your society. This was the situation in the time of the Prophet Muhammad, on whom be peace. A prison was invented in the history of Islam during the caliphate of Omar, who came after the Prophet Muhammad. So in the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the way you dealt with prisoners of war captured in battle was that you made them servants in the society. Women were obviously more vulnerable, and one of the ways of protecting women from being attacked and molested by all and sundry was to have them assigned to a particular household. And as she was assigned to that household, she also served as a wife in that household. The difference between her and a married wife was that she did not have her freedom, whereas the married wife had her freedom. So these were customs that were in place at the time, and Islam encouraged the freedom of slaves, but could not abolish the system of slavery altogether all at once. We're talking about 1400 years ago. So if Muslims had followed the Islamic prescriptions, then gradually the system of slavery will be completely abolished from Muslim society. That seems to have been the intent. Obviously, nowadays it would seem quite wrong to capture women from the enemy combatants and make them concubines. Neither do Muslims want to do this to others, nor do they want this to be done to their own women folk. So we come a long way in history. We have enacted many conventions and treaties between peoples to make sure that if we do go to war, which we will try to avoid at all costs, then even in war we will try to be as humane with each other as possible. So nowadays, of course, it will be considered inhumane to capture enemy combatants and make them your servants.
Okay, so it's not permissible in Islam nowadays.
Well, this is what Muslim scholars will have to make a clear and distinct ruling about, but okay. Obviously it goes against the ethos of Islam, okay, to enslave people and especially to make women concubines, because women obviously have their own choices in life, and they're not property or chattel to be dealt with as men please. So if indeed women are captured in battle, they will have to be treated as enemy combatants and be dealt with according to the modern conventions that Muslims and others will agree on, and that will be for the benefit of both sides. Neither do we want to capture other women and use them in this way, nor do we want others to capture our mothers and sisters and daughters and use them in this way. So we can have conventions that will bring out, in fact, the spirit of the Islamic law, which is to ensure the benefit of all human beings, the maslaha, as we would say in Arabic.
Okay, thank you. One last question. This viewer is asking about the possibility of alien life, and how does Islam regard that? He's asking about a verse, and among his signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth and the living creatures that he has scattered through them.
Yeah, that verse in Surah 42, verse 29, seems to indicate that there will be life in the heavens as well. And the word there for life is dabba, which means creatures, similar obviously to what creatures on earth are called. Yusuf Ali, in his translation of the Quran, has made a footnote to this effect, that this obviously indicates that life exists in other places in the universe as well.
Okay, thank you very much for being with us.
You're welcome.
And thank you for watching. Again, this was another thought-provoking episode. We'll see you next week. But don't forget to check out our website at QuranSpeaks.com. Send us your questions, your comments, and your donations, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.